So what could have pushed a working doctor like Umar Nabi to become a suicide bomber? By all accounts, he was not a great doctor, nor was he a very devoted professional, but still, he was educated and one would assume rational. So what made him want to blow himself up? For this, let's try and understand the psychology of a suicide bomber based on leading academic research. Unlike common stereotypes, studies consistently show that suicide bombers are not mentally ill, psychopathic, or impulsively suicidal. Instead, several overlapping psychological, social, and ideological forces shape their mindset. Here is a breakdown using analysis from major experts. Firstly, why do we say they are not psychopaths? Well, this is according to Dr. Ariel Merari, an Israeli psychologist and terrorism researcher. Merari conducted direct psychological assessments of would-be suicide bombers, those who were caught alive. He found suicide bombers generally do not display psychopathy, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or other major psychiatric disorders. They tend to be emotionally stable with normal IQ and no clinical suicidal tendencies. Those who refused suicide mission did show more anxiety, dependency, and other traits, which suggests bomber selection is very deliberate. So what's the conclusion? Suicide bombers are usually psychologically normal people, shaped by an abnormal environment and ideology.
Suicidal bombers are not insane. They are mentally not ill. They think about what is correct, what is not correct. And they also think that while doing suicide, committing suicide in any terrorist activities or for some other reason, they think that they are doing for religion. That's the only motive in their mind. It has been indoctrined by their motivators.
Now let's understand what Dr. Scott Atran, an anthropologist in University of Michigan and Oxford, says how group dynamics and obedience completely override individual psychology. His conclusions come from field interviews with jihadist recruits. He argues suicide attacks are rooted in group identity, not personal pathology. Recruits undergo a process he calls devoted actor formation, total commitment to an ideology and group. Strong bonds within the militant groups override self-preservation. Basically, group cohesion plus ideology can reshape self-concept so profoundly that dying feels like fulfilling a meaningful role. Another key element is identity crisis, humiliation, and the search for meaning. Dr. Gerald Post, a psychiatrist and founder of CIA's Center for Analysis of Personality and Political Behavior, believed that suicide bombers often experience identity fractures caused by personal, social, or political humiliation. And to such an individual, the extremist groups offer a new identity, sense of belonging, mission larger than oneself, and a belief that martyrdom transforms shame into honor. Thus, the bomber's psyche is shaped by an emotional need to belong and overcome perceived humiliation. The factors that drove Dr. Omar Nabi failed to work for another intended suicide bomber in the same module. This man refused to kill himself or become a supposed martyr. He called it a sin. 22-year-old political science student Jasir Bilal was detained by Jammu and Kashmir police and sent to NIA custody by the court. Jasir refused to die for his cause, despite repeated attempts of radicalization by Dr. Umar. In fact, if you observe the video of Umar Nabi, where he talks about suicide bombing, it's clear that he's trying to sell the idea to some non-believer. While Jasir may have lived, his actions led his father, a dry fruit seller Bilal, to die by suicide. He was reportedly called in for questioning after his son's detention. Bilal poured kerosene over himself and eventually died of burn injuries. The incident occurred after Jasir Bilal and his uncle, Naveed Wani, were detained by the police for questioning in connection with the Delhi Red Fort car blast and the related terror module. Arrested doctors revealed in interrogation that Jaser Bilal was being radicalized for suicide bombing since 2023 by Dr. Umar. But when, in 2025, he was asked to carry out the attack, he refused, saying that suicide is sin in Islam. Jasir encountered the terror module at a mosque in Kulgam in October 2023. He was taken to a rented accommodation near Al Falah University in Faridabad in Haryana, where Dr. Umar Nabi spent several months intensely brainwashing him to carry out a suicide attack. The plan fell apart in April 2025 when Jasir backed out. He cited two primary reasons for his refusal: his poor financial condition and, crucially, his belief that suicide was forbidden in Islam. Other members of the module initially wanted him to serve as an overground worker or a OGW, but Dr. Umar insisted on a suicide bomber. Following Jasir's refusal, Dr. Umar is believed to have become the suicide bomber himself, driving an explosive-laden car that detonated near the Red Fort in Delhi on November 10th, killing 13 people. DNA samples from the human remains in the car matched those in Dr. Umar's mother, confirming his identity as the bomber. Jasir's detention and interrogation, which occurred after the arrest of other co-accused doctors, were instrumental in helping the Srinagar police unravel the entire interstate terror network linked to the banned Jaish-e-Mohammed. Dr. Umar's failure also shows how even a highly radicalized mind of an educated doctor was unable to convince a pliant suicide bombing candidate like Jasir. Traditionally, the profile of a typical suicide bomber was that they were almost always male, would be young, ranging in age from 16 to 28, would come from poor backgrounds and have limited education. However, this is a stereotype which has struggled to fit suicide terrorists more and more in recent years globally. And now in India also, the stereotype has been blown to smithereens by the white-collar terror module. Do tell us what you think about this show and keep watching India Today.